Okay, so when it comes to the Book of Wisdom, the alternative name is called the Wisdom of Solomon. Um, and let me give you a quick background info. The Book of Wisdom was written as late as 50 years before the coming of Christ. Its author, whose name is not known to us, was probably a member of the Jewish community at Alexandria in Egypt. He wrote in Greek in a style pattern on that of Hebrew verse. At times he speaks in the person of Solomon, placing his teachings on the lips of the wise king of Hebrew tradition in order to emphasize their value. Of course, we will not be covering everything because it will take me days. I want to read from several passages where I found supernatural aspects. So everything we'll be touching on tonight will have to have some supernatural aspects. So wherever I found this passages that talk about idols, gods, demons, watchers, fallen angels, anything of that sort, I just wanted to read for you. Okay, so let's go to Wisdom chapter 11. That will be our first pit stop. Okay. Verses 15 to 19. So this is God speaking. Wherever I could, I was able to understand the context to whom the God was addressing to, because sometimes he would address certain passages to his people, but sometimes to in regard to the Jewish enemies. Most of the time, it had to do with the Exodus, so it's Egypt. But sometimes, as we'll see in this context, it has to do with the well, in the next chapter has to do with another tribe, with another nation. Okay, so Wisdom 11, verses 15 to 19. But in return for the senseless imaginings of their unrighteousness, wherein they were led astray to worship irrational reptiles and wretched vermin, you sent upon them a multitude of irrational creatures for vengeance, that they might learn that by what things a man sins, by these he is punished. For your all-powerful hand that created the world out of formless matter didn't lack means to send upon them a multitude of bears, fierce lions, or newly created and unknown wild beasts. This is very interesting. Newly created and unknown wild beasts, full of rage, either breathing out a blast of fiery breath or belching out smoke. So the author of the Book of Wisdom is not known. Um, he sometimes, as we said, he's sometimes portraying himself as the Solomon himself, which will be impossible because this book came out about 50 years before Jesus. But could something from the Book of Wisdom uh, be passed orally before the author sat down to write, and then on top of that, he added his own wisdom and other tradition? That is very possible, right? But what struck me so much in Wisdom 11, what was the verse? Yeah, 18 again, is that the author is mentioning these animals or beasts. He said they're breathing out a blast of fiery breath or belching out smoke. So could it be? I mean, I don't think he was talking about dinosaurs, because some type of dinosaurs had these abilities. Was this a metaphor? It doesn't look like, because based on the context, everything that he talks about seems to be very real. So, what were the animals that he speaks of? They were breathing fire or belching out smoke. Because we know that some animals, especially insects, they have this ability. Hey, Merry Christmas to you too, Dane. Thank you, brother. If you want to join us, let me know, so I'll have someone to talk with. Yeah, so as we know that there's some types of animals, not just the dinosaurs, but also insects, that have these abilities to, the way God designed them to uh, create through certain chemicals in their bodies to create something like fire or explosion, right? We know these bugs that are able to do this. So we don't know what the author was what he meant when he said that these animals were breathing fire. But listen to this last part. This is even more interesting. He said that there were also some other type of animals were flashing dreadful sparks from their eyes. So what could these be? I don't know about you, but when I came to this section, flashing dreadful sparks from their eyes, this reminded me, I know some of you will be laughing, but this reminded me of Mothman. So this doesn't seem anymore like a regular animal. This almost sounds like a spirit animal, which we covered several times lately on the channel, right? So again, either breathing out a blast of fiery breath, or belching out smoke, or flashing dreadful sparks from their eyes. So God would use these animals that may seem evil, that may seem, um, you know, well, they didn't just seem, they were dangerous. They can come and take your life, but God is still above them in his supremacy, in his majesty. God uses these animals. The same way he could have commanded Leviathan, the animal of the chaos, right? But God could still command Leviathan whatever to do. And for me, that was amazing. So, or flashing dreadful sparks from their eyes, which had power not only to consume them by their violence, so the animals or these beasts to consume people by their violence, but to destroy them even by the terror of their sight. So these animals or these beasts, again, I'm just speculating. I'm not saying they were spirit animals, well, at least some of these. But they were so formidable, they were so scary that if you would just look at them, you'll be already like shaking and being paralyzed and you'll die. I just found this very interesting because in this context, God is still talking about his people, or the person the author is speaking how God was using different tools or different means to punish his people.